Okay, last learning target 5 question for the review. So we have a bike rider pedals with a constant acceleration to reach a velocity of 7.5 meters per second over a time of 4.5 seconds. During the period of acceleration, the bike displacement is 19 meters. What was the initial velocity of the bike? Okay, so a bike rider pedals with a constant acceleration. So this is another just very simple image where we have our bicycle, okay, and we're starting at some point and then we're covering some distance. We know that it pedals with a constant acceleration to reach a velocity of 7.5. So that would be our final velocity there over this time period of 4.5 seconds. And then it's displaced by 19 meters. And we're saying, what is the initial velocity of the bike? Well, I'm going to choose where I'm starting there to be my origin. Okay? And then I'm going to make my list. So x initial, x final, velocity initial, velocity final, acceleration, time initial, time final. So my initial position is 0 because that's where I chose my origin to be. My final position is 19 meters. Got that from the displacement part of that question. Okay. Velocity initial is what we're solving for. Velocity final is 7.5 meters per second. We don't know the acceleration, it just says that it's a constant acceleration. And then time initial is 0. Time final is 4.5 seconds. All right, now we need to choose an equation that our only unknown is velocity initial, so it cannot have an acceleration component. So this is the question where we're using the same equation as 21, question 21. And so here we cannot use an equation that has acceleration. This is a constant velocity, so that doesn't work because our velocity is changing. So we need to use that equation. So we have delta x, which I'm going to lay out as x final minus x initial, is equal to 1/2 velocity final minus or plus velocity initial. That, I'll tell you right now, is where I mess up the most on this question, where my students mess up the most. We're so used to doing final minus initial, and in this equation it's set up as final plus initial, so be careful about that. Multiplied by our time final there. Okay, let's get rid of our 0 components. Okay, and then time initial, but that's not part of it. So we have x final is equal to 1/2 velocity final plus velocity initial multiplied by time final. All right, we're solving for velocity initial. So we need to rearrange this equation to solve for velocity initial. So let's start by dividing by our components that are multiplied to it. Okay, so we're going to divide by 1/2 time final. So we have velocity final minus plus velocity initial. It's going to equal x final divided by 1/2 time final. And then we want to get velocity initial by itself, so we're going to minus time final, velocity final, to both sides, because it's added to that. So velocity initial is going to equal x final which was 19 meters, divided by 1/2, multiplied by time final, which is 4.5 seconds, minus velocity final, which was 7.5 meters per second. And see, we're doing meters per second minus meters per second. That will give us an answer in meters per second. So might as well show you how I'm plugging this in. So I am, again, you don't have to run these all at once, but I'm going to plug it into my calculator in a way that it will be run all at once, but you certainly don't have to. You can chunk your calculations. So I'm going to put a parentheses for this whole fraction because I want all of that to be minus from 7.5. And then I'm going to say 19 divided by, now I'm going to put another parentheses for the bottom of my fraction here. 1/2 is 0.5 times by 4.5. So there's the bottom of my fraction. There's the fraction as a whole. Minus 7.5. Okay, so we have 19, so 2 sig figs, 2 sig figs, 2 sig figs. If we do not run this 7.5, that would give us 8 point, this right here would give us 8.4. Okay? So this would be 8.4 meters per second minus the 7.5 meters per second. Okay? And so we get 0.9 because we're minusing values, so it'd be digits after the decimal place. So we have 1 digit after the decimal place, 1 digit after the decimal place, and so we're going to end with 1 digit after the decimal place, so 0.9 meters per second. That was our initial velocity. Okay, so that was our last one there. All right, guys. Let me know if you have any questions.